Episode 36.
With
Us.
this guy.
That girl. Yeah,
I think
sorry, just
this
us
guy.
today.
Yeah, it's just us.
I think it's pretty good for something that wasn't even supposed to be on YouTube. We have episode 36 in less than a year.
Yeah, this is my favorite number. Did you know that?
No, it didn't. So why is it your favorite number?
Because it's got threes in it, and it's got sixes in it, and sixes are made of threes.
Okay. Well, so we
Six.
have something in common. My favorite number is 3.
Ah, it's because it's a good number. It's powerful.
We didn't know that.
No,
Not rehearsed.
no. Someone told me that the most powerful shape is a triangle because of the three edges.
Exactly. And I like the number 3 because whatever you do in threes, it changes completely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, thank you
Yes.
everybody for watching and
Yeah. Who would have thought that
commenting.
people would watch this?
Not me. No. I also feel it's taken on a life of its own, as in it started off very much. Go back and look, everybody. Just me, you, and Mark doing like little exercises, very unprepared, and it's turned into more of a proper like guests, and no one is drumming. We're just talking.
Yeah, which is a funny thing because all of a sudden somebody had this brilliant idea of let's invite somebody.
Yeah,
And then it took off like that.
yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, what do
Oh
you
my
think
God.
is missing from drum education
I
today?
knew that was going to come. In a way, I have to agree with one of our guests, Bobby Angeletta, where as a joke he said the students, and in a way I'm going to agree with that. Uh, I have plenty of students, but what I think is um, people, the students. It seems that in the 21st century, the students don't like to have proper drum lessons with a teacher, and that ends up reflecting in a lot of misinformation. So I think that's what's missing. For sure, not teachers. There are plenty of teachers, especially 2020 with the pandemic. Everybody became a teacher, you know. So it's not a lack of teachers. There's no lack of material. A bunch of people talked about fun. I agree with that. But I think students should look into actually finding a good teacher and having regular lessons. You can still go on YouTube. You can still watch Instagram. You can still go on Drumeo or Drum. What's that Drum channel that DW has? Because there's amazing information there. But I think that for me what's missing in drumming education is guidance.
Hmm,
How about you? What do you
good
think is
answer.
missing?
Um, I agree with you to a certain extent because when Bobby was talking about that, and we were talking about how, your teacher can just talk to you about stuff, and I feel like, there's pressure there to, you've got to drum, but you've got to do this, 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 and you can't just impart your knowledge. Um, and that's what we want. That's what I want from my teachers. But I think I also agree with what Rick Jupp was saying as well, which is just play, freedom, and just letting the student just discover their own voice. Um, I think that's missing, is having that time and patience with
Yeah,
yourself. I think social media doesn't show all the hard work you put in, and it doesn't show so much experimenting and how it goes. You start off not great, and then it's okay, and then it's all right, and then it's good, and then you're like, oh, I can do it, and you don't really see that, and so it's like instant gratification, and that's dangerous because really there's so much pleasure to be had of overcoming stuff and achieving what you set out to do.
True. There's big. It seems that obviously nobody's is going to put a video where they make a mistake. So it seems that everybody's perfect,
Mm.
and but nobody does puts up a video on social media and say it took me like 2 years to get this right.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. Usually the caption is just an idea.
Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah. Uh huh. Right.
You're like, really?
Yeah.
Was it? Not sure about that.
Now
Uh,
I'm
Go on.
curious to know how did drumming come into your life?
Well, I used to dance when I was younger,
Okay.
and I don't know, I always liked Michael Jackson, and they're obsessed.
Yeah, there's a picture.
Obsessed.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, God. Um, and I always just liked him and his, rhythmic dances and all of that stuff. And I don't know, I think I just heard someone playing the drums when I was really young, and I thought that's cool. And then someone came into our school with some drums, and I thought, I want to do that. It didn't actually happen until I was 16, and I went round a boy's house, and he had a drum kit, and I was like, oh my God, let me have a go. And then he was like, oh, you should have lessons with my teacher.
The date took an unexpected
It was not a
time.
date. It was not a date. That's what I was supposed to say. It was not a date. Uh, I don't
But
think
did
so.
you know he had a drum kit?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was like a friend of a friend. It was really dodgy, but we went around there and he had a kit. I played, and he's like, "You should have lessons with my teacher, who was Mark Smith."
Okay, cool.
And I ended up buying a kit off that guy, Ed. Don't know his last name, but thank you, Ed. Yeah, it all started with you. I bought his old kit, had lessons with his teacher, Mark, and that was it. It was like, from then, I just was like, oh my God, I have to do this. This is the best
Cool.
thing ever. And Mark was a great teacher. He just showed me all these amazing drummers, Weckel, Virgil Donati, Buddy Rich. He showed me all of them, lent me tons of videos, and grateful for that.
Excellent.
And you, how did you get
Ha.
into drumming?
Ha. So it's. I hope you have time. It's kind of a long story because I was getting into music. When I was 11, 12, I was start getting. My family was always very musical. My parents were listening to music all the time, so music was very present. At 9, me and my brother started having lessons, recorder lessons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and but when I was 11, 12, I started to get into pop and rock, you know. And 1983, Kiss went to Brazil for the first time. And I was a very impressionable 13-year-old boy. And I knew some of their songs, but when I saw the videos were like, because, all the makeup and explosions, and they had the drum kit, which was massive, on top of a war tank. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. So immediately I wanted to play the guitar. And then I found out that the guy I liked the most in Kiss, Gene Simmons, played bass. So I was like, ha, I want to play bass then. And then one day, when I was 14, talking to a classmate of mine, I said, "Oh man, I really want." He played drums. Well, played drums. He was having drum lessons. So I said, "Oh man, I would really love to play the bass." And he said, "Well, my teacher also teaches bass, so here's his address. Go there and talk to him." Because back in the day in Brazil, buying a telephone line was really you have to buy a telephone line, and it was very expensive. So the guy didn't have telephone. So I had to go to his house and talk to him. And so I went there to get information about bass lessons to go back to my parents and say, this is how much it cost. And uh, he was busy learning songs from a gig he had on the drums. So I talked to his wife, and she was telling me, all the information I needed, how much, this, that, and the other. And I got all the information. But as she was telling me, he had some posters on his living room with all the information about guitar, bass, and drum lessons. And she was talking to me about bass lessons, and I was reading the information about drums. And him playing drums in his studio was just amazing. So I went home and I said, okay, drum lessons are, let's say, 100 quid. And my mother looked, drum lessons? I said, yeah, drum lessons. So following week, I went there for my first drum lesson. Uh, and his wife was like looking at me saying, I think I saw you before, but I don't remember for drumming. But anyway, they wouldn't say no for the money. So, I started drumming lessons. But I didn't tell my friend because he was
Oh.
expecting me to play bass and we would play together. So 6 months later, he came to me and said, so did you go there? I said, yeah. How are the bass lessons going? I have to tell you something. And I told him that I actually enrolled myself in drumming lessons. He was livid. He was like, "Oh my God, I had all this planned, and we're gonna play together. We're gonna put a band together." And the rest is history.
Oh dear. Poor boy. Broke his
Yeah,
heart.
I started my musical career crushing somebody's dreams.
Yes. So I want to talk about you. I want to dive in deep.
Ah,
Come on. So you, your dad was a psychiatrist.
yes.
Tell me about how
Apparently
that
not,
was
apparently not a very good one. Look at his son.
growing up. Well, they say kids from psychiatrists are the most effed up.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it true? Tell us, how was it growing up
But
with
well,
that?
the thing is, there's an old saying in Brazil that in the house of the ironsmith, the skewers are made of wood.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like it.
So the thing is, and many of the guys my age whose parents were psychiatrists that I know, they share the same view. My father was a psychiatrist inside the office. At home, as a friend of mine once said, whose father was also a psychiatrist, he said, doesn't matter if your father is a psychiatrist or a bricklayer. If you arrive 2 o'clock in the morning drunk after you crash the car, not much psychology is gonna happen.
Love it. Yeah. It's too close. It's too close. He can't,
Yeah, that's
it's
that all
too.
that no psychiatrist or psychology will ever treat family or relative or even somebody close enough because it's too close.
Mm.
you know but during lunchtime we heard a lot of stories, which was entertaining.
Excellent.
I don't know the names, but I know the stories, so fine.
Cool.
What do your parents do for a living?
They are actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was it to be the daughter of actors?
It was okay. My dad, he was. My mum and dad were both actors when they met each other, but consequently, since then, my dad has done other bits and pieces like presenting. Um, he used to be on QVC, the shopping channel,
Wow.
and so there was a time where people would be like, "Oh my God, is it Paul Lathers? And like they would like run up to my dad in the street. And so me and my sisters would be like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Um, so yeah, that was an interesting time. And yeah, my mum used to be in a hospital drama called Angels. And then me and my sisters were born incredibly early. We were born at 28 weeks.
Okay, wow.
So we were all in hospital for like, I was in hospital for a year.
Wow,
My mum
really?
died. Yeah. My sister Ange was in hospital for a year and a half. So it was like massive uh, disruption
Oh yeah,
to
I can
life.
tell. Wow.
But you know, they're amazing because they're still acting now.
Cool.
Obviously, COVID is not great, but they've still had the odd like commercial and stuff, and they love it. They thrive off it, and it means that they've always been very supportive of me drumming because they get it. You know, they get the the
And
bug
how,
once you get it.
yeah, and what about your sister? Are they normal people or are they in the arts as
No,
well?
no, they're nuts. I've got two brothers as well.
Okay.
But yeah, my sisters, we all used to sing and dance and stuff. And one of them is now a therapist,
Okay.
so that's interesting. And the other is a graphic designer, but she's like focusing on being a mum, and she's just got a newborn. And my brothers are just both super cool and make videos and marketing and
So everybody in the
all
arts
that.
then, kind of in the arts.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, my family, everybody's normal. I'm the only one who's not.
Oh, black sheep.
Yes. And I like it.
I bet you do. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have a younger brother, 3 years younger than me, who's, normal life, normal job.
Is he a
Still,
psychiatrist as well?
no, no, he works with computing, whatever,
Oh,
whatever it is, IT. But don't ask me what it is. I have no clue. Even though we're just 3 years apart, we are not close at all.
okay. Oh,
Because my life was about playing and being on stage, and 1 million years ago I had my 15 minutes of fame in my hometown. So
tell
he
me
didn't
about
want.
that.
Well, I was playing a couple of bands that played on the local radio station, and from time to time the picture of these bands would be in the local paper. So you know and
Cool.
he didn't want anything to do with that. Imagine, he was like 17, I was 20, and I was on the paper and on radio, and he no, this guy does so much so because usually in Brazil, anywhere else in the world, the family gets the father's surname, right? In
Mm,
Brazil, you get everybody's surname. So I have three surnames.
okay.
Yeah.
Talk us through that. Tell
No,
me
it's
your.
just like because my mother maiden name is Cusinato, and my father's surname was Drago Alves. So when I was born and my brother were born, we were Cusinato Drago Alves. So we have all three surnames. So Drago is the middle. Drago is my middle surname.
Do you also have a middle name?
No. Oh, with
That's good.
that with that long
That's good.
surname, who needs a middle name? So my brother doesn't use Drago as his surname to this day.
What does he do? He uses the
He
whole
used the
bit?
last one, Alves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. Tell me about studying in America and then eventually coming to the UK. That's like massive. That's a big deal, you know.
Yeah. Is this a questionnaire to see if I'm worth it to be your friend? I'm just kidding.
You are absolutely my friend.
Uh,
There, where you studied.
okay. So anyway, um, Don't ask me why, but I always had the feeling that uh, my hometown wasn't enough. I think enough, or for me, or I didn't quite fit. You know,
What was your hometown?
it's Porto Alegre, which means happy harbor. It's in
Oh,
it's in the south of Brazil. I'm closer to Argentina and Uruguay than to Rio.
okay.
To go to Uruguay is a 6 hour drive. To go to Argentina is an 8 hour drive. To go to Rio is a 24-hour drive.
Whoa,
Yes,
that's insane.
I know. And back in the day, like 400 years, 500 years ago, it used to belong to Spain, not to Portugal.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I always had this feeling that, there was a bigger world than my hometown. My hometown, the people who live there, they're sure they live in the center of the universe. And everybody in the world should know that it's the best city in the world to live, and everybody knows what's happening there. So every time I go to visit, they talk to me about things that happened there as if I was there. And I
Hmm.
was like, guys, I'm really sorry, but you don't get news from Porto Alegre in the 10 o'clock news in UK. I'm sorry. So 1991, for the first time, I left Brazil and I went to New York. It was a 10-day trip,
Hmm.
mainly to buy equipment because
Oh.
Brazil was closed in terms of commerce. Brazil was closed to the rest of the world. So to get good equipment, you had to either you had to go out and buy and then pretend that you paid a lot less, so they would allow you into the country with that, or
Hmm.
or contraband, one of the two.
Oh.
Yeah. So I went to New York basically to buy equipment, cymbals, and even drum heads. But once you're in New York, you explore the city and you go to a couple of jazz clubs. And then my first night out, I went to this jazz club. First thing I've never seen in my life. The whole band were wearing suit and tie,
Hmm.
right? So five guys on stage wearing suit and tie, and it was trumpet, sax, piano, double bass, and drums. And when they started playing, I had never heard anything like that. And they were just, you know, pub musicians. They weren't even like big names or anything, right?
Hmm.
And for the first time, I've heard real jazz being played like 3 feet away from me. And that was it. I said, I have to leave not only my hometown, but Brazil, because I will never have access to this kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so I started researching. Uh, Back in the day, it was Modern Drummer magazine. And there were two schools that I wanted to go, either Drummers Collective in New York or Musicians Institute in LA. And I ended up deciding for the Musician Institute for two reasons. First of all, uh, the Drummers Collective at that time, it was just drums, and they would charge you an amount for the lessons, but everything else like practice time, storage, and all of this you had to pay separately.
Hmm.
Musicians Institute, there's all guitar, bass, drums, vocals, keyboard, and recording engineer. They teach all of this at Musicians Institute. They used to. Now they may teach even more.
Hmm.
And the price was a little bit more expensive, but all inclusive.
Great.
All I needed was to have my own cymbals and drumsticks. Everything else they provided, even time slots to practice. They built small studios they used to call labs that were just big enough to have a drum kit. So it was all inclusive in that. So that's why I decided to go to Musicians Institute. But From the day I went to New York to the day I started Musicians Institute was 3.5 years,
Wow.
because then I needed uh, deciding that you want to go is easy, but then you need the money to go.
Yeah. Very
And
cool.
so that was it. The course at that time was 1 year long. I stayed 3 more years in LA, working and teaching and recording and gigging and all of this stuff. But I couldn't get a visa though, so I decided to go back to Brazil. Got married for the first time. Decided to go back to Brazil. A couple of years later, first marriage fell apart. Um, wasn't really happy in Brazil. Got really tired of that. Was married for the second time, and then decided to, you know what? Let's just go. I wanted to go back to LA, but I couldn't get the papers to go back to LA. So I decided, well, I have an European passport. Let's go to London and see what happens.
Yeah.
So on the 18th of November 2006, I arrived in London. Haven't been here before ever. Didn't know anything. Just,
Wow.
just the only reference was my brother was here for like 3 months,
Hmm.
and that was it. But he knew us, didn't know any musician, didn't know anything at all.
And you came here on your own or with your wife?
With my wife, yeah.
Wow. She was just like, okay,
Yeah, she said,
let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, let's go.
Wow.
And I wasn't young anymore, to do that. I was 36 years old, almost 37 when I did it.
Oh, that's so good. That's so, like, brave.
I see exactly the opposite. I wasn't brave enough to stay in Brazil being miserable.
Oh, why would you stay in Brazil if you're miserable? It
Well,
makes
that's what
sense to go
that's what
somewhere
Brazilian
else.
musicians do, you know. If you could understand Portuguese, I would send links of my friends on Facebook, and then you read their rants on Facebook, and and complaints, and
Oh, that's cool. That's really great.
So, and how about you? How coincidentally you decided to visit the guy who had a drum kit? He
Yeah.
he thought I was just visiting me. No, Paul, she was visiting the drum kit. Uh, and then we started having lessons with Mark. Let's explain for people who started with us recently. Mark was in the original three-piece that started Drum Education Live, but he decided to resign. I think I'm the one to blame, but
No. Yeah, no, Mark's great,
oh yes, he is, no doubt about it.
So
But then,
yeah,
okay, so you started having lessons with Mark, and then what
yes.
what did you do? Because we talked to. So did you what path did you decide to take? Because Emily, she has a very good friend that they're both professional drummers, successful drummers, but different paths. Uh, Emily simply decided I'll be gigging around town and hope something will happen. Her friend went to university. So which path did you decide to take to become a professional?
Well, I was just having private lessons with Mark, and I was doing my A levels. I think when I realised, oh, I want to drum. I don't want to be doing A levels. I was doing psychology, sociology, and art, and now I just made an absolute mess of my A levels because I didn't care. I just wanted to drum. But my parents were like, come on, do them, do your A levels, and then you've got options. So I did do my A levels, did do quite badly. And then so I decided I'm going to go to a music college. And so I went to the ACM and I did the diploma and then I did the high diploma. Um, and then I had a little trip to LA for a few months and studied at Llama. Um, and it was just the most magical time. It was incredible. I went there and I'll never forget it. They had sight reading every day in the morning, and whereas at the ACM, I love the ACM, but there was only sight reading once a week, and so there they produce the Charlie Wilcoxon snare drum solo book. I had never seen this book before in my life, and the guy, what's his name, Mike Packer, I think. He was just like, okay, ready, 1, 2, 3, go, and everyone is just playing a page in the Wilcoxon solo book. I can't even read it because like I need glasses, and I'm like, help me out. This is like I'm sinking right now. So then I went home and I just had to get up every day and practice before breakfast, and then I don't know, it was just amazing. It really opened my eyes to why they're so good in America. And so I came back very, very inspired and decided I was going to do the degree at ACM, which I did do. Yeah, and then I don't know, got little gigs, all covers, and then I did a musical and I did another musical and then some other shows and some bands. It's been a real very varied thing. I've done the band thing, I've done musicals, and
Cool.
yeah.
Nice. That thing you said, and then you understood why they're so good in America. My very first drum teacher, I think I told you this before, but he was sure that they knew something the rest of the world didn't know, and they kept it as a secret, and that's why they were so good.
Oh,
So when I went to visit him and said, "Okay, I'm going to study at MI," he said, "You have the duty now to find out what's their secret, right?" In Brazil, there's a slang for that, which is called the lip of the cat.
mm.
So he said, "You need to go there and find out the lip of the cat, why they're so good." I said, "Oh, all right." And then I had a similar experience than you did because all of a sudden, sight reading every day, more than once in the day. Uh, Rudiments they just eat for breakfast,
Mm.
and it's like all day. I had lessons with the same guys you had, Ralph Humphrey and Joe Porcaro,
Yeah.
and a couple more. So after 6 months, I went back to Brazil to visit the family, and then my very first teacher, he came to visit me, and he said, "So, what's their secret?" And I said, "Man, you're gonna be disappointed because there's no secret. They just practice a lot. They practice every day, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours." Then he looked at me silent for a couple seconds, and then he said, "Yeah, I understand you don't want to share. You paid a lot of money for your course."
Oh my God.
And I said, "No, I'm serious, man. That's the reason. That's the reason." He said, "No, no, it's fine. I get it. I get it. But don't share it. If you're not sharing with me, don't share with anyone
Oh
else."
my God. That is brilliant. Oh God. Yeah, I just felt like they were ready. They were set up. I always could have a practice room when I wanted one. There was like 12 of them or something. And then at ACM, sorry ACM, there were two. So it was like there's no question. There's no question at all. Everyone has a practice pad. Everyone is like it's just completely different mindset and
Yeah. At MI, when I went, I think there were 25 drumming labs, which were those small studios, right? I think there were 25 drum and they were shared by at least two drummers,
mm,
sometimes three drummers. And so, and the school was open, MI was open 24 hours a day.
that's so cool.
So there's no excuse for not practicing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I loved it there so much, and I always was like, oh, I want to come back. I want to come back,
Yeah, I know.
but it just didn't. Well, life happened then, you know.
Yeah, in March it's gonna be 25 years that I graduated MI, and I'm still. I always think I want to go back. I want to go back.
Yeah, yeah, such a magical time.
Exactly. Cool. So, what do you expect for 2021?
I don't know. I don't know. 2020 was such a surprise. I'm excited for
You
2021.
became a YouTuber.
I became a YouTuber. I would like more subscribers to our channel. That's what I would like. I don't know. I don't know. There's a few things coming which I'm excited about,
Cool.
which we will share. I will share with you next year.
All right. I
Um,
hope you share with other people too, so people know about it.
I will. I will. As soon as I can, I will. But yeah, I'm excited. There's lots of potential. Lots of.
Cool. Great.
Um, I want to ask you the same question, and then I think this is going to be a very long episode, but
Yeah,
we
it's,
should do
it's
our
okay.
draw.
It's the last episode of the year. We kept as much as we could, around 40 to 45 minutes. So we are allowed to indulge ourselves today.
Okay. What about you then? What's going on for you?
Well, as you've learned from our previous episode, number 35, I have this educational partnership with Nina Para, and we have loads of plans for it, which uh, there's a lot of potential because it's all online. So unless they start, you know, locking down the internet as well, I don't think we're going to have any problems. um, but in terms of live playing, I don't have any plans, and uh, I'm an old man, so I'm tired of the politics of bands and things like that. So I have, even though nobody played live, I had a few invitations this past year, and I said no, thank you, because yeah, because I'm old. That let's put it like that.
No, I think I know what you're saying. I'm old too because bands can just be so exhausting. They're amazing, but you know,
The thing is, one thing that in the last band I was in for a long time. I was in the band for 8 years, you
mm,
know. But 8 years is a long time in the personal lives,
mm,
and I think the most frustrating thing is the members' personal lives change, and and they and and that it seems that they are in denial that it had changed.
mm,
And instead of being open and say it changed, so we need to, my life changed. I still want to be part of this band, but then the band needs to change.
mm,
I don't know why people decide not to say anything until it gets to a point that nothing is happening anywhere because each one's personal lives. And then
yeah,
you try to talk to people and they go like, no, it's fine. Oh, I'm going to make this work out. And then another 2 months pass and nothing happened. I'm not even talking about gigs. I'm just talking about rehearsals,
mm,
you know. And that's, for me at least, is very frustrating because also I don't do anything else but music. So because of the personal lives, people have to put the music in the back burner and take a day job or, progress with their careers, whatever it is, which is absolutely fine. But let's sit down and talk this out and
yeah,
find a solution. Until we got to the point that, I was tired of talking to deaf ears, and I said, guys, it was amazing, but goodbye.
goodbye.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough.
So I think it's time for us to draw the name of the lucky person who's going to win our giveaway, the three books: Play the Drums from yours truly, Stick Control, the most famous drum book in the world, and Drum Set for Beginners Latin from our friend Paul Holes. And I have a list here. I'm gonna be looking at you, Ciara, and putting my finger down. And when I touch the screen of my phone, the name is Daveonce. I think that's the way to pronounce Washington. That's
Woo!
that's Daveonce Washington. That's the winner of the three books. So please, obviously, I'm going to write it down at the comments, but please get in touch, send us a message so we can get your address and send the books.
Yay!
Woohoo! Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas!
Yeah,
Um,
excellent.
let's have a look at our episodes.
Let's look
What
at our
do
episode.
you have a favourite or a top five, or
Oh, come
what's
on.
your most?
Which is your favorite daughter? I know you do
Both
have.
great in different
I
ways.
know you do have one because all mothers do, but you're not gonna say. So, you know,
No, no. All right, all right. I will start if you can't think.
it's not that I cannot think. I think there's, I've learned a lot from every episode. You know, there's a lot of wisdom
Mm.
people we interviewed. So, but since you ask, I'm not even gonna mention Dom because you know he's above good and bad, and he's a personal friend. But in terms of information, I really liked Paul Holz's episode. It was really good. The other Paul Matthew Queen, the entertainment lawyer, also very informative. Emily was a very, 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 very good episode. So I would say these three that came on top of my head. Your turn now, Kira.
Okay, so there are a lot, but yeah, Paul Hose. His episode has always been in my mind since we had him on, because I just liked how frank he was, and he was just like talking about. He just kind of dived in deep with the whole professional drummer. What is that? And I loved that. I just thought
Exactly.
it was a great conversation. And then a few other favourites. They're all great, and Dom's amazing. But Penny, I really enjoyed Penny's chat.
Yeah, I try to avoid my personal friends because then
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because they're friends.
Oh, okay. Well, I really liked Penny. And I really liked Jamie because he was so
Yes,
open and just
another
was
another
like,
deep one.
oh,
Yeah, another
yeah,
deep one.
yeah. And I also loved Dorothea Taylor because I was like, oh my God, you're amazing. And she was just lovely. Yeah. And Cammy, there's so many, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, Cami was like the personification of motivation and positive thinking.
Yeah. Like after episode, I was like, right, who am I going to email?
Yeah,
Let's do
I'm
this.
gonna get the drum kit that I always wanted.
I'm going to, yeah. It was very cool. Um, yeah. Good. Good.
Yeah, but there's every episode. There's a lot, especially the ones we not. Let's forget the very beginning when we it was just the three of us. Like whenever we talk to other drummers, you know, there's a lot to be learned, and for
Mm.
example, when we interviewed Nigel Glockler from Saxon, you would expect uh, he's joining a major band, and they're going to say, okay, we're going to go into the studio now and rehearse for a month before a tour. So he joins the band. The tour starts next week, and in a month we're recording a live album. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
it's amazing because it shows that we're all the same. You know,
Yeah.
you think, oh yeah, it's because my band is just starting or we just play pubs. No, it's the only difference is the size of the stage.
Yeah. God. Nerve-wracking. But yeah, no, it's the connection. I feel like it's been amazing just talking to all these drummers. It's just been like, what? This is so nice.
Yes,
All of them.
and it's a little bit of a comfort because you realize that no matter how successful they are, their struggles are the same.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's mad though. It's like, when Rick was on the other day and he was talking about facilitating rather than teaching because he was like, what do I, how, who am I? And I'm just like, what are you talking about? You're Rick Jupp. If you're not qualified, who is?
Exactly. Yeah, but
Like that
you
thing.
know, it's the I the other thing is no matter who you are, which band you play, everybody has imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, 2 years ago, I was doing this talk at a Sabian Education Network event at the UK Drum Show in Manchester. And as I was doing that, I was thinking to myself, who are you to be talking at this show?
I love that you did that. That's
All those
amazing.
other drummers in the audience and drum teachers, and they were all looking at me like, I was like, you're saying a lot of rubbish and this to these qualified guys.
Oh no, I bet you did amazing. But yeah, you're right.
It
We
was
all have
fun.
it.
It was
We
fun,
all
no
have
doubt.
it. We all have the inner demons going,
Yeah.
no, no, can't do that. Who do you think you are?
Worse, who do they think you are?
Yeah, it's like this thing. Brené Brown talks about it. She's like, either you're like, you know, you can't do that, you're not good enough. And then if you do the thing, then you have the voice saying, who do you think you are? How dare you do that? It's like a weird thing.
Yeah, I
You can cut that all out.
know. Originally, Drum Education Live was supposed to be you, me, and Mark going places and doing drum clinics.
Mm.
And then it became a YouTube show.
Yeah.
Do you think uh, we will do that next year, or are we trapped in this format for the whole eternity now?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. The thought of doing drum clinics scares me to my core. But I would do it.
Oh, of course. No,
I
no.
would.
But I mean, do you think we're
I
going
don't know.
to take it on the road as it was the original plan?
I don't know. We need to ask Mark. He, see if he wants to do it.
I'm asking you.
Oh,
Mark's not here. I will ask him, but I'm asking you now.
yeah. Oh God, I'm getting all like, because I'm scared. But yeah, I think maybe in the summer, maybe things will be sorted out. I don't know. Maybe
Cool.
it'll be safe to do that. I don't really know.
Yeah,
But maybe we'll just have to keep doing YouTube forever.
we're trapped.
Ah. Yeah. I was going to ask you about 2012 when you were talking about how you were feeling not great.
Oh, okay.
And I just wanted to hear a bit about that. It's always good to hear a struggle.
I think I was stuck on the rut of playing what I knew, and I was surely dip into my comfort zone because it's not that I think I'm the greatest drummer in the world, but you solve the problem. You know, I'm not a jazz drummer, but if somebody comes here and say I needed somebody to play jazz tonight, I'll do it. It won't be great, but that person will not lose work because of that, because they don't have a drummer. If somebody come to me and say, "Oh, I need somebody to play Brazilian music," which is not my forte, I I I go there and I will solve that person's problem for you know, and then you get comfortable, right? And then this is the and because you 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 play gigs to actually save other people's lives. Uh, it's never something that's gonna go anywhere. You're gonna play this gig, and then that person, if ever, will call you in 6 months' time. Maybe never, because there's always new drummers coming coming up. So they might find a guy that's perfect for what they want to do, right? And to be honest, until that time, I didn't quite worry about that. I was fine. I was making a living. I was playing. You know, I was teaching. I was playing. Yeah, that's life. And then I joined this band that I stayed 8 years. Right. I joined the band. Uh, Actually, before becoming a band, it was just the guitarist invited me and a bass player to record a couple songs that he had written, and that was fine. So I went into the studio. Of the 5 songs, there were drums only in 4. So I had enough repertoire to play 4 songs. But then it became a band, and a year later, the guy was talking about recording a full length album, and I didn't have repertoire to play to record that. It's not to play, but to come up with 10 different songs, drum parts for 10 different songs. And that's when I was like, oh my god. And uh, obviously, I made it work. I listened today to the album, and it's not bad, but it's not good. It's okay, which is the worst thing. Because if it's bad, somebody's gonna say, "Man, what were you thinking?" If it's good, obviously people are gonna come and say, "Wow, amazing." To tell you the truth, right? It was so pedestrian, my drumming, that many friends of mine said, "Oh, I love this song," which is the song I don't play.
Oh.
There is a song that the singer wrote that I thought not having drums in that song would be best for the song, right? And a lot of people come, "Oh, that song is amazing." Okay, thank you. And I don't even tell them like, "Yeah, but there's no
I'm not
drum,"
on it.
right? Uh, and that's when you know the band was all excited about. Now we have not only an EP of 5 songs, we have a full 10-song album, and you know, and they were all excited. And how many copies do you want? And I was like, none.
Oh God.
and,
Harsh.
and then obviously, the other thing is I cannot be self-taught. I have to have lessons. I have to have a teacher, a guidance. So I have loads of material, right? But I have all the material that I studied when I was at MI. But it was like, uh, I don't want to go back to that. And what do I practice? Where do I go from here? And then one day, chatting, I don't even know if that was the reason, but we were chatting. Me and Nina were chatting, like two friends do. And she told me about Dom, and I decided to take the leap.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
you were playing cross.
Cross-handed.
So then, yeah, after
Until
him,
until
you
2015, I only played cross-handed.
do you ever go back to it or not?
Just for when I go to a jam session, yes.
Interesting. Why?
Because the kit is already set up. To play open-handed, it's better if you lower the hi-hat and sometimes there's the memory lock on the hi-hat. So just leave it there, because that doesn't go away. You know, if I, for example, if I visit you and I sit here with a drum kit that is for cross-handed, I'm gonna sit and play, just no problem.
Yeah. Cool.
Because I I played like that for 29 years.
Cool. That's it. I don't have anything else.
Cool. All
You're
right.
done.
So now you know everything about me.
I know everything about you.
No, there's one thing you don't know about me.
What's that?
I went to university.
Did you?
I didn't finish. I dropped out.
What were you studying?
Ha! Try to guess. I'm gonna make your
Give me a
life
clue.
easier. I'm gonna make your life a little bit easier. It's not music. It's not psychiatrist or psychologist. Psychiatry or psychology.
Finance?
Kind of economics.
Same thing. Wow. Okay.
I
you-
dropped. I dropped halfway through the third year.
Oh, wow. What was your plan? Why were you going there?
I didn't have a plan. I finished. I started. You have in Brazil. You have when I. It's changed now, but when I started school, you had 8 years of fundamental school, and 3 years of high school, equivalent to the high school in the U.S. So I started fundamental school when I was 6. So I finished high school. I was about to be 17 years old. So I didn't have a plan. I was already playing the drums. So I finished school and everybody was going to university. I went into university as well. So I was 17 when I started university. It was a funny thing because all these guys that were they really wanted to study economics, and there were some older guys. They're all wearing suits and glasses and reading and stuff. And I had long hair and jeans and t-shirt. And it's like I didn't belong there at all. I was kind of their mascot.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now you know everything about me.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you're a drummer. It's for the best.
Oh, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. You asked what was my plan. Obviously, there was none.
There was no plan. There was not a plan.
If there was, I wouldn't ever go into a university to study economics.
Yeah. No.
Well, lady, it's as I said when we interviewed Emily a year ago, you didn't even know I existed. And now we created this thing
Yeah.
that's I'm very proud of. And as I said when we talked to Nina, I couldn't have a better partner to do that. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Merry Christmas to you and your family, and a very happy New Year. And see you in 2021, digging into people's lives again.
yeah. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure working with you. It's
Thank
been
you.
really great. A lovely surprise of 2020. And yeah, more of it.
More of it. A lot more.
Yeah. Cool.
See you next year.
Bye bye.
Bye.